What's going on, guys? Today we're back again with another quick tutorial. Today I have a iPhone X. As you can see, this is in recovery mode or restore mode or whatever you're going to call it, iTunes mode. Usually this happens when there's something wrong. Unfortunately, in this case, this phone was dropped, and right after the phone was off, and then upon turning it on, this comes up. Um, in this case, you would have to connect it to the computer as shown here and restore it using iTunes, which I have it connected. This was brought to me as a second opinion, or brought here for a second opinion, because it was taken to Apple and they were told that there was nothing that could be done. You would need to upgrade. But upon seeing this, I've noticed that there was a fine crack here. And the reason I'm saying this was a key piece of evidence of what I think is wrong. But like I said, in this case, I connected it to iTunes, try to restore it, but I get an error 3004 or something like that. Then after that, I get another different type of error. So long story short, after it does, restore, this comes back up. So there was really nothing you can do um, if that doesn't fix the problem. So that's why I'm trying to explain this in detail. Usually restoring this device should fix the problem, but the thing is, restoring it, you're going to lose all your information if it wasn't backed up. All right, enough of me going on about this. One way to fix this issue is by opening it up, and that's why I said this was a key piece of evidence of why I'm going to open it up. In this case, just make sure it's disconnected and make sure the phone is powered off. Um, After you restore it, or after you try restoring it, see what happens. But like I said, in this case, we're gonna power it off, and once it's powered off, we're going to open it. Oh, okay. Now to open this, you're gonna have to remove the two screws on the bottom pentalobe, I believe. Star, if just to get the micro size. Now remember where you put these screws, because these screws are very important. This keeps the screen from popping off if it was to drop. So these screws are very important. Now since I'm experienced at this, I'm gonna make this look a little easier than the way it is. But due to it being cracked, you're gonna have to be really, really gentle on the top. So once you have the two screws removed, now the screen is able to lift up. Usually I start on the bottom and work my way on from left to right. So we're at the bottom. You gently pry up. You can use a suction cup, but in my case, I don't. I really dislike using those because sometimes you pull too hard, and there goes the screen flying, and along with the connection. As you can see, gently. Now you can use a guitar pick to have it held open for you. There you go, and just like I said, left to right. Then once you get to the bottom, then you should be good. Wedge in between the frame. There we go. Once you get to the top, as you can see, it's open. Now this could be a little easier if you warm it up. You can use a hair dryer, heat gun, whichever is easier, to soften the glue up. Once that's the case, I've actually did have this heated up, so it is slightly a little heated if it's a little too hard to pry it up. Now once you get the left and right, you gently wedge between the top, between the plastic and the metal. Again, this is where it's cracked. You don't want to pry too hard because you don't want to do more damage to the screen. The screen does work. There's no line, so I know for a fact the screen is still in good condition. Now, before anything, you make sure you disconnect the battery, and before you do that, you're gonna have to remove this plate. This consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws, and these are tri-star screws. Again, these are micro-sized screws. I'm just gonna place this to the side. Now, one thing that I do recommend, if you're not unsure, if you don't want to restore your phone, try this step first. I've seen it happen to where I don't even restore. I just power on the device, and the device powers right back on. You don't have to do anything, and you just change the part that's bad. So if you're open to doing this before restoring, feel free to do so. But again, just do this at your convenience and do it as carefully as you can. Now, once we have the 5 screws moved, you can see, I'm just gonna move this to the side. There we go, comes up. This is the battery connector. You can use your fingertip, you can use a plastic pry tool, but nothing metal. Try avoid using metal pry tools because they can do more harm than good. In my case, I can use my fingertips. Boom. Phone is off. And the one thing is that I might point out, and that's what I'm saying, that here, the proximity sensor is located here, and this is what I'm pinpointing to is you could probably just have a bad proximity sensor, and that's what I'm figuring out. So you want to disconnect it. The proximity sensor, if you follow this cable, it's gonna lead down, and it should be the second one, if I'm looking at this correctly. So that way y'all guys can get a good view right there. Just lift it up, and this came out more easier than I thought, but usually a little adhesive is held on, or you having this right here, and you can just gently pull up, gently, not like ripping it off. Then it should come off like this. So let's test my theory. They're gonna pop the battery in. I apologize, like I said, it's really hard recording and fixing the problem. And the battery won't go in. Usually just pops right in, but there we go. Now, the one thing we did is we removed the proximity sensor. This is the ear speaker and the sensor itself. So this is all one piece. And let's test this theory. Now you can power on your device, and if it gets to the menu, all you have to do from there is just replace this proximity sensor, and this is attached to your Face ID. So please be sure that this is what you want to do. But if it's bad anyways, on the beginner level, you're gonna just kind of have to replace it with a sensor. But before we begin, try that, and we'll go from there. So I'm gonna try to restore it because, like I said, unfortunately it was taken to Apple's. They already started the process, so there's no way for me to update it or turn it on. The only option for me to do now is to restore it. So I'm just gonna connect it to the computer. And I'm gonna put it in iTunes mode, recovery mode. It should come up automatically, but and we'll go from there. Like I said, I don't mean to confuse you guys, but the reason I'm saying that try this first is because if your phone's not boot looping, because this is what is going on, because it's boot looping, and if it's just the Apple logo, then like I said, turn it on with this disconnected proximity sensor and see what happens from there. Unfortunately, in my case, like I said, stuck in iTunes mode. I'm going to restore it. Once it's restored, I should stop getting the error code, and it should restore completely. And I'm gonna, like I said, test this theory and see what happens from there. So I'm just gonna fast forward and see what happens. Because that's like a 15-minute process. Okay, the phone is done restoring. And let's see what happens. Like I said, the cable's still disconnected, and it did go through C, and boom, we're back in business. And phone seems to be working good. All I have to do now is set it up. And if you want to just double check or be sure, Like I said, we can reconnect the cable back again, but let's just make sure we have it powered off. And like I said, if you have a bad connector, you're going to start boot looping. I've seen this happen one too many times with the iPhone 7, 8, especially with the home button. If the home button's cracked, that's usually what happens, or the proximity sensor. And as you can see, cable's connected. And now this is going to be like a part 1 of part 2 video. That way, if you do want to change your sensor, you want to get the how to undo on how to do that, I'm going to show you in part 2. I'm making this into a 2-parter. Now if you're just trying to restore it and your cable's working, then you don't have to change it out. But as you can see, exactly what I said, the phone's boot looping. Where is that sensor? Now I'm gonna test this out a little more. I'm gonna try to see if I can save their Face ID, if possible. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna do some more tests on it. But this is what the proximity sensor should look like. And again, this is one piece. This is the ear speaker and the sensor all in one. Unfortunately, in this case, once you change it out with the original, you won't have your Face ID anymore, or yeah, your Face ID working anymore. So these are all connected. These are all paired with one another. This, the front camera, and the motherboard. But as you can see, phone's not working, still boot looping. And let's just go ahead and disconnect it here. If you guys are still here watching, I appreciate it, because I'm trying to get a detailed video of it, or a point of view of it, rather than just showing and leaving you guys in the dark. There we go. Disconnect it. For some reason, this is more tricky. I'm over here inventing words. The cable is disconnected. So I'm going to show you guys in the next video on how to change it, and maybe a little bit more detail. Now, if you found this video helpful, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Again, I only make this video because everybody's asking for them, or how-tos on how to troubleshoot their phone. That's the only reason I keep doing it. Other than that, like I said, it is a bit time consuming. I don't like editing the videos, so I try to do everything in one shot. And like I said, see, phone is good to go. All I have to do is just set it up and put the iCloud again. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave it in the description. And I really hope you enjoyed the video.